For English learners, finishing your first English book is a huge milestone. It brings pride, satisfaction, and a real sense of progress. Once you build the habit, you go from one book to two books to tons of books. But making the first move is always difficult and challenging. Am I ready? What book should I choose? And what should I do with this book? In this video, I'm going to walk you through all of that. At the end, I'll share books that make a no-brainer for almost every English learner. The first thing to do is to know when we can start. Sometimes you overestimate the difficulty of an English book or underestimate your English proficiency. You think you're not ready based on your current level. All these concerns and thoughts combine to create perfectionist procrastination, where you never start because you think you're not ready. So, when can we start? I could give you a ballpark figure. When you have probably about 2,000 to 3,000 words in your vocabulary, you are good to go. That means if you can pass a test in a college or an IELTS test, you're somehow ready in terms of language to finish your first English book. I came up with this number based on my own experience. I finished my first English book in my freshman year. At the time, I had probably 3,000 words. As for grammar, I don't think it makes a huge hurdle. Sometimes you don't need to understand every word and every sentence in a book, as long as you can grasp the general picture and overall content of a book. Now, what kind of books to go for? I like to draw this simple diagram based on 3 criteria for choosing a book: what you like, what you can do, and what's good. We choose books that fit the combination of all 3 criteria right in that overlapping space. We definitely first go for something we like because it is what we are motivated to finish in the first place, and this is something we are familiar with. That means even if it is in English, the book is not that hard to finish as soon as we have so much learned before that book. Think about what inspired you and what interests you since you were a child. Anyway, it's pretty easy to know what your interest is. We need to choose a book you are actually able to finish based on your current English proficiency, right? We actually have criteria, a series of symbols that examine a person's English proficiency level from A1 to C2. There are 6 levels, and you need to know which level you are currently at. Then choose a book that matches that level. You can go online and take a vocab test. After you finish that test, you will get a ballpark figure of what level you are. I can put the links of the vocab test in the description below so you can check that out by yourself. Once you know your level, you can visit websites that recommend books for your specific level. And I will also leave the link in the description to that, and you can check it out yourself. And also you can ask AI tools like ChatGPT to help you with this. Go for good books. Books that are thought-provoking, interesting, written in good language, and have solid imagination or logic. I think going for classics and bestsellers is a safe choice. And you can also use third-party websites that rate books to help you with that. Now you know what kind of books to go for. Let's do a brief discussion about time duration, how long it should take to finish your first English book. We definitely don't want to do it too quickly, but we also don't want it to cost too much time because that would cause burnout and you're going to give up for sure. The most appropriate time duration is probably about 2 months, and that's totally based on my own experience. I don't have scientific research to back that up, but I think 2 months is a good place to start. Remember, this 2 months time frame is based on consistent effort. There is something called binge reading, where you read intensively for a few hours a day, but just do it a day in a week. Several pages a day were to produce way better outcomes than binge reading. If you find yourself unable to push through, try finding a place where you can read, a place where everyone around is learning, where the internet connection is poor so you have no choice but to read the book. Find a place like that and go to the place every day. It is always hard to make the first move to finish the first book, but once you finish it, you're going to taste the satisfaction and fun. As you read more books, you will develop the habit. And as you keep that habit, you're going to become a natural reader. And hey, reading is definitely a good habit to keep. The final part of this video covers what to do with the book. Here are some simple tips. First, don't do intensive reading with your first book. Intensive reading takes a very long time and can easily cause burnout. The best intensive reading materials are concise, short chapters or passages that are solidly written from, for example, a textbook. We're not going to do intensive reading for the entire long book. Also, intensive reading without a guide where a teacher is likely to be beating a dead horse is not effective. So we're going to do extensive reading. What is the chapter mainly about? Whether it is about a topic, content, or story, answer in short, concise language, even in your native language. Preferably if you can draw a mind map showcasing the overall content of a book in a structured manner. Also, record the words and phrases that stop your understanding. If you encounter a word or language point that prevents you from connecting all the sections and transitions in the book, look it up, record it, and put it in your vocabulary notebook so you can revisit all these words frequently. It is pretty simple, and if you want more advice on what kinds of words to keep and how to maintain a vocabulary notebook, you can also check out this video where I'd explore this in detail. I would like to recommend two books that make like a no-brainer for every English learner. My top recommendation is The Little Prince. Although it was originally written in French, the English translation is beautifully done. This book ticks all three boxes. It's a timeless classic, written in clear and simple language and filled with meaningful ideas that resonate with readers of all ages. But if you prefer nonfiction, Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson is another excellent option. It is a short and engaging story that teaches powerful lessons about how to deal with changes. The language is accessible and the message sticks with you long after you finish this book. That's all for the sharing. Whichever you choose, keep in mind that the goal of reading isn't to remember every word. The goal is to grow. So pick up your first book. I'm Shawny English here. Remember, happy reading, and I will see you in next video.